Am I good enough? Am I good enough?
So, if you're at the title of the video, you already know what it is. Maybe you're here because you relate. Maybe you're here because you're just interested in what I have to say. But the fear of never being good enough. I want to be super transparent here and say that like recently I've been having a super hard time mentally. I don't really know what it is, but it's like I have a hard time even hanging out with my friends. Like I hang out with them and I don't feel good. And it's nothing to do with the people. I'm actually genuinely surrounded by good people. I've been very overwhelmed with homework. I've been having nightmares. Just like a lot of stuff. I've been very overwhelmed with my jobs and content. The fear of never being good enough is something that I've always felt since I was probably 8, 7. Basically, as long as I can remember, I've always had this fear inside my head that I'm never going to be good enough. Whatever I do, it's never good enough. No matter how much effort I put, it's never good enough. No matter what grade I get, it's never good enough. And it's been like this endless cycle that I thought would end at some point, especially considering that I've done a lot of stuff that I would say that I'm very proud of and a lot of stuff that I've worked really hard for. I've know it's taken me a long time to get there, but yet I still find myself repeating the cycle of saying, okay, I'm not good enough. For example, I got an 82% on my psych test grade the other day. I was about to have a full mental breakdown because I was like, I'm not good enough. This is the lowest psych test grade I've ever gotten. An 82. And 82 is not even a bad test grade. And I still had that in my head. I'm like, I didn't do good enough. I didn't study good enough. I didn't work hard enough for that. But like at the end of the day, it's an 82. And I know that I actually tried my best for that test. I know that I studied for that test. Why am I always so hard on myself for something that's out of my control? Same thing with friends and relationships. I've been very insecure recently of just myself in every way, of how I look, my personality, everything. And I've definitely been reflecting that onto my relationships, which is why I've kind of chosen to take a little step back from everyone and take some time to focus on me because I know that that isn't healthy. And what I mean by that is the fact that I would be like so insecure thinking that my friends don't actually want to hang out with me, that they just like invited me along because why not? When in reality, that's an insecurity of mine that I'm pushing onto them saying that it was them, and it wasn't. They never had that intention. That was never what went through their head. So I've kind of been like, okay, like something is wrong here. And so I've decided that I'm kind of going to take however long it takes me to take a step back from friendships and just take some time for me to grow as a person because clearly I need to fix something. And that's the thing. This is something that is definitely a personal problem. This has nothing to do with anybody else. It's something that I need to fix because I have this fear that I will never be good enough. Going along with that is something else I went the other day because I've been applying for jobs and internships and I realized that I don't know my own potential. And I think that ties in with the fear of not being good enough because I think that I'm not good enough to, let's say, apply to a job that I think that I might not get, or apply to an internship for a bigger magazine than I usually write for. Like anything. Or like when I did content creation like more full time and I was getting brand deals, I would very much so lowball myself with my rates and have brands give me something that I definitely could have gotten more for. So with my jobs, if they ask me how much I should get paid, I say minimum wage. When I know that probably I have better potential than that. I deserve better than that. But in my head, I'm like, that's all that I deserve. I deserve that minimum wage paying job. In reality, who knows? If I actually tried, if I actually went outside my comfort zone, got out of my own head and stopped saying that I'm not good enough and actually try to get a job that maybe pays, let's say, $30 an hour. Maybe I'd get that. And then what happens? What happens when you actually realize that what you've been telling yourself isn't true? I don't know. And if you relate to this, I suggest you do the same thing. Because at the end of the day, that is all in your head. You actually get to decide so much of what happens for yourself, whether you see it or not. The way you talk about yourself, the way you think about yourself, actually portrays to other people, such as the fact that I was portraying that people didn't want to be my friend and I was pushing that onto them and it kind of hurt some of my friendships, but it all came from me internally. But by me just thinking that, it was affecting my friendships with them. And that's why I think that it's not a bad thing to take some time and step back and focus on yourself. Some people might not understand it, some people might not get it. Some people might be like, why are you doing that? You don't have to do it alone. But I actually do believe that I do need to be more alone for that because otherwise I'm not truly going to take that time to focus on myself. And it's like the same thing with my content creation. I create these YouTube videos, I create TikToks, whatever it is, and I always think I'm never going to be good enough. I always think I'm stuck at this number because I have been stuck at the same numbers on my platforms for quite some time. I haven't seen like that much growth overall. And it can be frustrating because it makes you feel like you're doing something wrong, like you're not enough, your work isn't good enough. But that's not the case. Maybe it's just not my time. Maybe when I'm posting it just isn't the right stuff yet. You never know. You just gotta keep trying and like Get out of that mentality that you're not enough, because you are. We are all enough for whatever it is that you're talking about. If that's friendships, if that's how you look, if that's your school, if that's your job, whatever it is, you are enough. You are good enough. You can do whatever you want to do. It all comes down to your mindset. And all this is easier said than done. Trust me, I told you, I've been kind of through it this past week. And it's been really hard because I feel like I was piling a bunch of stuff and it all came crashing down on me. And it was really, really hard for me to go through that. So some things I'm going to do to try to fix this kind of imposter syndrome, if you will, is basically, like I said, take some time away from other people, focus on myself. And I'm trying to get all the major stressors out of my life. For example, I had the 7-week class that's supposed to be done in 2 weeks. I'm gonna try to finish it now so I can be done with it. I'm gonna try to see what actually makes me genuinely happy again, like my content. I love it, but I'm not happy with it because I know I could do more. So I think that that's what causing me a problem, is that I could be doing more and I'm not, so I should be doing more. So I think if I start creating more content again, which is something I genuinely love, and create content that actually matters and actually has a purpose, that people actually need to see, I think that'll help me. And just knowing that I try my best. If I didn't get a good test grade, did I try my best? If that's a yes, then that's what matters. If that's a no, then that's something that, okay, it happened, but next time let's try harder. And it's as simple as that. Like, at the end of the day, it's not that serious. I was thinking about it and I was like, okay, so I graduate in 2 years. In 2 years, what's really gonna matter? Are those nights that I felt so insecure about how I looked really gonna matter? No, they shouldn't matter. I should have those nights where I'm out with friends and I'm having fun. That should be what matters, not me sitting in my bed crying because I don't like how I look in the mirror. Because at the end of the day, if that's not something you can change right in that moment, then it's not worth your time. It's not worth your mental energy. It's not worth your tears. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And I think that's such an important quote, because how can you expect you to change and to like your body better if you're not going to do anything about it? And if you don't actually want to change your body, then you need to change your mindset on it, and however way you want to do that. That's something I've been super insecure about recently, is just how I look and my personality. And I was like, okay, let's fix it. I am done sitting here and complaining about this and letting this take away from my time just because I'm insecure. Okay, that was my little rant on this topic. Hopefully you guys liked it, and if you do relate, I'm sorry, but know that you are good enough. You are enough. And hopefully some of the stuff I said can maybe help you out. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. I love you. You're amazing.